know you're thinking, Luke, what's going on? You guys have been following me on Instagram. You already know I post the same clip every day. Looking to be off grid. I'll explain more in the future. But I got a bunch of emails lately about first-time travelers. So as I go on my morning walk today, gonna help you guys out. 3 things I don't hear other people talking about on YouTube, and 3 things I think will really shift how you look at your travel, especially if you're first time. Even if you're not a first-time traveler, some of these tips will help you out a lot. Now, I'm at high elevation, so I'm trying to talk while walking up this hill. The first thing, if you're about to start traveling, most important thing you need to know, hey, let's go, come on. First thing you need to know is when the adventure starts. When the adventure starts. Some of you think once you've made the decision to start traveling, you've packed your things, you bought your flight, you're on the airplane, you keep thinking that that's when the adventure starts. That's when you think the adventure starts. And let me tell you, that's nice. It's not even the beginning yet. The adventure starts usually when the first thing goes wrong. I don't know who needs to hear that, but that's when the adventure starts. When the first thing goes wrong, the flight's canceled, your reservation's not the same, you're a little bit lost in the city, you problem with your bank, problem with something. That's when the adventure starts. Now I'm in a place really off grid right now. I don't even have phone service or anything, which I like. And as I was coming here, I had to find this place. It's about 7 hours from where I live, and you can see it is all nature. Like, I take the motorcycle, we go all up in those hills, waking up in the mornings, feeding chickens, going through here, and I literally have my machete here because I can say this is an adventure, but for me, the adventure starts when I see the first wild animal. The other day, going through these mountains, saw some snakes, some other things that are pretty scary. Got my friend's dog. Come on, let's go. Ven aquí, ven. And that's when the adventure starts. Because what happens is when you think the adventure starts, when you finally walk out the house with your bag ready to go, things go wrong and that messes things up for you. But you gotta understand, the adventure didn't start yet. The adventure didn't start yet for you, my friend. It starts when the first thing goes wrong. First thing goes wrong. And I think the more you embrace it, the more you realize, like, oh, the adventure hasn't even started yet. It really helps your nervous system. And because some of you guys, when things start to go wrong, your nervous system goes out, you think of turning back and all these different things. The adventure didn't start yet. The adventure didn't start yet. For me, it doesn't start till I get a little bit lost. Till I get a little bit lost, that's when I say the adventure starts. When I make these videos, for me, the video doesn't start till I forget what I have to say. And I gotta pull up my notes that I wrote down right here. I wrote down 3 things. This is all based off of an email I got this morning. I get a lot of emails from you all, but I get certain emails that I'm like, wow, that's a great question. Let me answer it here. So that's the first thing I'd say. Look at these holes back here. These are rabbit holes, I think, but you never know what's inside there. When you're walking in the wild here, you don't want to bring, I used to bring just a knife. You definitely need something bigger than that because there's animals that one knife thing won't do anything to. You want to have 2. I recommend if you guys are out in the wild, 12. I have a 12-inch machete and there's something up there. When the dogs, I usually with 3 dogs when I'm back here and they see things and it's pretty scary. And the second thing I have on my list for you all first-time travelers, is thinking you have to do it a certain way. Thinking you have to do it a certain way. And if you're on social media, if you're an influencer, people say, but more importantly, if you share your trips and what you do with your family, friends, if you're sharing it, you're gonna get other people's opinions a lot. And the one thing you need to understand is you can get in this mode of thinking you have to do it a certain way. Like if I went to Paris, if I told everyone I went to Paris, I need to go to the Eiffel Tower. I need to go to Notre Dame. I need to go to Champs-Élysées. I need to go to Place de Bastille. I need to go to the opera. thinking you need to go to all these places because you're going and that's what people think you should do. And that's one of the worst things I think that people, mistakes that they can make, because sometimes you don't want to do that. I lived in Paris, and I can tell you from living there, I actually don't think I ever went up in the Eiffel Tower. And people always look at me like, what? You never, like, it just didn't, I didn't feel pulled to do it. Like, for me, I loved sitting at a cafe called the New York, right across the Seine River, looking at the Eiffel Tower, eating my salmon pasta. That's what I love doing. And thinking I have to do it a certain way for other people, I think that it kills the magic of your own trip. It kills the magic of what you could experience, who you can meet, because you're trying to do it a certain way. Hey, orejas, ven. Ven aquí. Because I'm not climbing up that hill to come save you. If I don't have to. But thinking you have to do it a certain way. And I can tell you from creating videos on YouTube, even with my audience, people who I enjoy, people who I really respect, everyone in my audience, I can't tell you how many people would come in and be like, you didn't even do this. You missed that right in front of you. And it's like, no, I didn't. I saw it. Second of all, I just didn't film it most of the time, but I did it. And sometimes I didn't want to. Like, I just love to walk around. You guys know I live here. I've been here in Mexico almost 7 months now. And there's so many places people say I should go. When I was in Mexico City, I stayed there for 2 months. And like, did you go to the pyramids? Did you go to this? Like, no, and no. I stayed within about 2-3 kilometers of my home for the first month. And I just chilled. I met the locals. I knew all the people at the markets. I walked around. I got to see the culture. I got to know the people who worked in all the little cafes. And that made me so happy to know this. That made me so happy to do stuff like that. In Bali, the same. People thought, did you go to the mountains? Did you go? No, nope. I stayed within a few kilometers most of the time. Went to all the places where I know people. And that brought me life. That made me feel great. Was there content that I could make there? Not, I mean, I guess I could have, but I didn't want to. Because I think sometimes life needs to come first for you. And if you're a new traveler, you might be thinking like, I'm doing things no one in my town has done. No one in my village has done. No one in my city has done. So I need to share all these cool things. And it's just like, but are you happy doing it? That's the most important thing. It's so quiet out here. Are you happy doing it is the number one thing. Do you want to do it? Find the things that you want to do, that you love to do, and do that. If other people like it, if other people approve of it, that's great. Especially when I started on my YouTube, I used to try to film everything that I thought everyone wanted to see. Then I started filming things that I like to do. Then I started doing things I like to do and not filming it. And then people would just base, hey, orejas. Crazy dog. And then what happened was I started to become more happy. I started to film a little less content, yes, and post a little bit less, yes, but my happiness went up. And I think when you're traveling, you go through those phases. I think you have to really experience it. I wish so many people could experience what it's like to share your trip, share your journey, build a fan base, make a living doing it, and then still have parts of you that feel unhappy. Hey, where are you? Where were you? ¿Dónde? ¿Dónde? ¿Qué pasó? Huh? ¿Qué pasó? Tú estaba arriba, huh? Way up there. I saw him running from way up there. I'm surprised he found me. But yeah, thinking you have to, that's a great shot right there. Got the picture. Thinking you have to do it a certain way. I think it's one of the quickest ways to get unhappy. Because what happens is when you're traveling, everything is new. And when things are new, it can distort you, especially if you're in a paradise place. But if you really check in on yourself, like, am I happy in this moment? Am I really happy, like me? You might be like, actually, no, not really. You're doing things for other people. And I think that's kind of one of the easy mistakes that we can make as travelers. And finally, to number 3, I'm so glad I wrote this stuff down, or else I would have forgotten. I wrote down this ball of sheet of paper. This is how content can be, guys. I'm in the middle of the wilderness, no service, nothing, sharing thoughts from a piece of paper. I would never thought people cared about stuff like this. I think I have to be in a very cool place to film this. But there's no such thing as a certain way. Do it the way you want to do it. That's what all the great people, the people who people follow, they all did it the way they wanted to for the most part. And last thing I wrote down is, forgetting the journey is, I didn't have an answer for that one. So my question, the third piece of advice I have is actually a question. What is the journey to you? What is the journey to you? I think how you answer that question, I think I've noticed how my clients answer that question has a lot to do with their experience that they have in life and in their day-to-days. Because the journey is just a way to get to the destination, you miss everything. You miss everything. If all I'm trying to do is get to the top of this mountain up there, if all I'm trying to get up there, I miss all these little things. I miss the different colored rocks on the ground. I miss the tree branches. I miss looking for the trees where I can hang my hammock, which I'm probably hanging my hammock up there later today. I'm missing out on just being here and present in the moment. I'm missing out on all that. I'm forcing the dog to, hey, let's go. Come on, we got to go faster. Even though he doesn't speak English. No, te habla un poco de inglés, ¿no? Un poco, ¿huh? Un poco. Te habla un poco de inglés, ¿sí? Ven. Ven aquí. And how you answer what the journey is to you says a lot. And I think when you can learn to love the journey, to think that it's only about the journey, understand that that's it. That's all that matters. You realize how more important the journey is, how the destination is just a consequence. If I'm loving hiking, like I used to love, some people, you gotta understand, some people in life, they love the summit. They love the summit. There are people who love to be on the top of the mountain. But there's other people who love to climb. And you have to choose your climb in life. You choose your struggle. I'm reading a book right now, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F-U-C. You guys know the rest of that book, the name of that. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a, type it in and it'll show the rest of that book. And they talk about you have to choose what your struggle is. I talked about this on Instagram the other day. You can choose what your struggle is. So as I travel, I have sacrifices I have to make, especially early on when I traveled. I didn't have the money, I didn't have the income coming in when I traveled, so I had to sacrifice where I ate, what I ate. I sacrificed where I stayed at. You guys saw me staying in hostels for years because I chose to sacrifice living in a room by myself, having a nice apartment, so I could just travel and be anywhere I want to be, doing whatever I wanted to do. That was a sacrifice that I chose to take. Now, you have to understand, a lot of people take a different sacrifice. Most people take the sacrifice of, I'll sacrifice being anywhere and everywhere for security of having a job and a paycheck. And understand there's nothing wrong with either of those. But if you're doing one of those and you want to be doing the other thing, you need to understand that if you don't sacrifice for what you want the most in life or anywhere, what you want the most becomes the sacrifice. If you don't sacrifice for what you want the most, the thing that you want the most becomes the sacrifice. And some of you love to travel so much and be so many places and do so many things. And I see it. I feel it. I feel people's energy. As I've been in Oaxaca, I've met so many of you guys in the markets and walking around. You guys know me. And as I met you guys, you have this joy and happiness. And I'm like, when are you going home? And everyone always answers that answer like, I'm going home next week. And I'm always thinking, like, I wonder if they ever thought about, could they just do this all the time? That's what you want to do. Because what's life about? What's the journey about? Sacrificing, not knowing where the next paycheck is coming from, not sure how you're going to eat in a month and a half. That's all part of it. But remember, from the first thing I said, that's when the adventure starts. The adventure starts there. You figure it out. You ask different questions. You get help. You watch videos like this. And this is when starts a chain reaction in your mind. Some of you guys, the best advice that I could give, it doesn't have to be with me. Find someone who you look up to, who has the life you want. Ask them for some of their time. If there's someone who really values their time, you're going to pay them. For me, people pay. Like if you want travel advice, people pay. People pay me. You will get a 40-minute call for $222. Some people that I've reached out to, it's been $100 for an hour. One of my mentors, he charges $3,000 for a 1-hour conversation. Another one of my mentors, she charges $3,333. Well, this was 6 months ago. $3,333 an hour for their time. But you need to understand that hour is going to save you so much. So it can be someone who you know in real life, someone who you know who is in your neighborhood. Offer to take them to lunch. That's one of the easiest hacks that I've done. It's cheaper. Like, hey, I'd love to, like people have done it to me. Some of you guys have know you've gotten so much value from just saying, Luke, I'll take you lunch anywhere, just need to talk. 10 minutes. I got pizzas. I was like, perfect. That's a great idea. Everyone has to eat. Everyone loves to eat. Like, find creative ways. But talk to people because they ask themselves different questions. Like, I would never be on this journey if I asked myself the same questions that people who are scared to do this ask themselves. Like, well, where am I going to eat next? Like, that's not a question that someone who's traveling full-time thinks. They don't think like that. They ask themselves different questions. And you need to ask yourself different questions because you ask yourself a different question, you get a different answer. Some of you guys ask yourself the same questions all the time, so you get the same answer. And what you do with that answer, you can get the same answer, you go take the same action. And your life just kind of repeats itself over and over and over and over again. So those are 3 things that I hope help you guys out in pointing your direction for you guys who are first-time travelers and learning how to do things, because it is scary. And when you learn that being scared is just a sign that you're just getting outside of your comfort zone, then you just learn. And then before you know it, you're not so scared of the same things. The same things don't even bother you anymore. You don't even think twice about it. What are you doing? ¿Qué pasó? Huh? Well, I'm off to feed the chickens. Off to feed the chickens. Have some nice organic food, organic eggs. But, oh, there's something out there. Something's back there. What's up, man? You good? But once you can learn to, and I actually don't even know these things, these cows and things scare me still. I'm getting used to it a little bit, but they're still a little scary for me. I've never seen something like this in Cleveland. But when you get to learn to love the journey, fall in love with it, define what the journey is to you. Look at you drinking water. You thirsty, huh? Yeah. Uh-huh. You did a lot of running. You drinking that cow. Look, they're looking at you. They're looking at you. They're looking at you. They're going to remember your face drinking their water. They're looking at you. Yep, and being out here. Always have a little bit of machete ready for you. Just to make sure you guys are good when you guys are out in places like this. But on that note, I hope this video was able to give you guys some maybe you think, maybe there's one thing in here that maybe make you think about something. And I want to thank you for being here. Thank you all for your questions. Thank you all. Hey, Fiona, ven aquí. Thank you all for your questions. Thank you all for everything. It really means a lot to me. And I love helping you guys out and giving you advice and being in a place. And for me, I'll make a video about how you can set your life up and do things. I always want to create value, but being in a place like this just reminds me, I never thought I could ever be here. I knew I could, I didn't know how I could be here. And I think when you start out with how, it kind of destroys everything. Start your questions with what or who. Who would I have to be there? Who could I reach out to who could help me to get there faster? Who do I need to become to do it? Asking little questions like this, just start your brain on a different path. But on that note, it is breakfast time, and I saw that there were eggs from chickens. So I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I'll speak to you later. In the meantime, everyone always remember to work hard, be brave, and don't forget to smile. Ciao.